Hello, everybody. I'm Kelvin Hawthorne. Welcome to this political discussion, and I'm here with Isaiah. I'm Kelvin. I support Hillary Clinton for the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
I'm Isaiah, and I support Bernie Sanders for the Democratic nomination.
And welcome. Today, we're going to be discussing the political race, which is quite frankly getting heated up lately over polls, our own personal opinions, candidate and media, and of course the direct candidate quotes and what's been going on lately in this election. So I believe Isaiah has some polls down here. We'd like to start out with some polls today. Here's the polls. This is the Democratic nomination, or not the Democratic nomination, the general election between Donald Trump and Republican and Democrat Hillary Clinton. Can you just explain this overall to us?
Okay, well, this is Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump polls, and what's happened is since February, widened a lot, but then over the past couple weeks, there's been a sharp popularity over Trump. At one point last week, they were actually behind Trump in the polls, a 1-point lead difference on the Real Clear Politics average.
Let's just basically discuss in our personal opinions why we think Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are so close in this election. I'll let you go first, Isaiah.
Extremely unpopular. No one really likes either of them. Have negative approval ratings.
I think overall, is there's a lot of talk, one, about Hillary Clinton's email scandal and the scandal on Benghazi, too. So I think that's one reason why she could be going down in the polls. Another reason why I think Trump has been down in the polls before this is because of, I don't want to say like greediness. He's not always greedy. He can be greedy. He can be very disrespectful as well. And I think the reason he is down in the polls, especially with Sanders and back earlier, as you said, February with Secretary Clinton, is because of his big idea about the wall. And I think that big idea about the wall is getting old to voters, and I think they just don't want to hear about it anymore. Let's talk real issues. That's what I think. That's why I think he's been down in the polls, especially with Senator Sanders lately, too. And that's what you have up right now. So
Sanders versus Trump. Bernie has an average of, I think, a lead of almost 10 points.
Yeah, I see that there. Like I said, I think it's that big wall idea that's holding Donald Trump back. Like, I don't know if you agree with me on that. I'll ask your opinion on this here soon, but I think this wall idea is just getting annoying the voters. I think the voters don't want to hear about this anymore. I think they want to know. I think they want to hear about what affects them especially. So, what do you think about that?
Well, they're Trump supporters. They think that it affects them. I mean, they're gonna love the wall that he's been gaining in the polls. This is one thing I've been noticing. The election has been wrapped up. He is the nominee, and the party is uniting around, their nominee. But since Bernie Sanders' race, still aren't warming up to Hillary yet. Starting to unite, but the Democrats are not.
And we have a pretty big chance that Senator Sanders is going to become the nominee. There still is a chance. There's a chance he could become the nominee. The chance may be low, but there is still a chance. Hillary Clinton looks like she will be the Democratic nominee with only 78 more delegates needed. All she really has to do is win the state of New Jersey and even just lose California, and she'll have the magic number of 2383. I believe that's the number, if I'm correct. So tell me your thoughts on that. Like, basically, what you think this election is going to look like going forward, especially for the Democratic Party, which they do have two key competitions still going on.
Delegate counts. These are the delegate counts Right now, Hillary Clinton has 1769 pledged delegates. Bernie Sanders has 1501 pledged delegates.
It's about 300 pledged delegates down is Senator Sanders. So still there?
Yes, I cannot hear you.
Okay. And with the pledged delegates and both super delegates too, the states are still split proportionally, so there's no way that Senator Sanders is actually going to catch up to Secretary Clinton's pledged delegate lead. But I can tell you, if he wins California, he could gain a good chunk of those super delegates, which is still going to put Secretary Clinton winning the nomination if you factor in both delegates in the total. So I think overall that the proportional rules is especially going to help Secretary Clinton going forward into the nomination. And I do think she's going to be the nominee, and since I'm a supporter of her, I do think she's going to be the President of the United States. Other people have different opinions, but that's my opinion, and that's where I'm going to leave it for now.
Well, as far as super delegates go, what might happen is, since super delegates are Democrats, elected Democrats, they are going to want a Democrat in the White House in November. Into the polls is not doing so well, and Sanders is. I feel like at least a couple of them might say, maybe we should support the person who could win in November.
I think that the super delegates are looking for somebody who's experienced, somebody who's had experience in Washington, knows most of the people in Washington, and especially somebody who's looking for a party nominee who's actually been down this road before. I think Hillary Clinton easily could beat Senator Sanders in the nomination just because super delegates don't like Senator Sanders. And I don't understand. I'm not going to get into really bad talk about this, but I don't understand how Senator Sanders and his supporters think that they're going to get super delegates after talking so bad about them. Like, super delegates are not going to change if you don't believe that they can help you win the nomination. It's simply said, just like that. That Hillary Clinton believes in super delegates. She likes super delegates. That's why a majority of the super delegates are on Hillary Clinton's side. As Senator Sanders thinks that super delegates should be abolished, and super delegates don't want to be abolished. So super delegates are not going to switch to Sanders. That's what I think. That's my opinion on super delegates, and why Hillary Clinton is so big as super delegates.
My opinion on super delegates is that they really are undemocratic, and but before Bernie Sanders announced he was running, before Jim Webb or Lincoln Chafee or anyone else, Clinton had 400 delegates. It was cast in Iowa or anywhere else. Delegates.
Well, it's just a matter of who they like. Voters like who they like. If there was 400 super delegates, that means those 400 super delegates liked Secretary Clinton. It doesn't matter if there was a vote cast or not. These are set. They like who they like. These are voters. They're voters. They matter. They're voters. They can help the candidate, and that's who they happen to like. They happen to like Secretary Clinton. I think that's fair enough. If they like Senator Sanders, they can change to Senator Sanders. But I think if they like Clinton, they can stay Clinton, just like the pledge delegates.
If a candidate wins 60% in a certain state, that candidate should win 60% of the delegates. That's how it would be fair, and that's how it would be democratic, because otherwise, like in the case of Wyoming, it's basically telling the people that your vote doesn't matter because superdelegates override your voice.
But what if I like the other candidate? That's just gonna put media telling me that I support this candidate when I support the other candidate, because maybe I don't like this candidate. Maybe I think this candidate's really bad. I don't want him as I don't want that person as my president. I'm not going to vote for that candidate. That's just going to put media saying, oh, well, this chunk of the delegates likes this person, and I could be part of that chunk of delegates. Well, maybe I don't want to be part of that chunk of delegates. Maybe I'm like somebody who like Donald Trump. They took all the delegates from a state and just said, oh, these delegates are going to vote for Trump. Maybe one or two delegates like Senator Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio or Governor Kasich. And now media is automatically assuming that I like Donald Trump, which maybe I don't, but maybe I don't want to vote for him. That's why superdelegates are fair. If I don't like this one candidate, I don't know which candidate I like. It's just like an independent voter. I can go Democrat or I can go Republican. It's superdelegates are just I can go Hillary Clinton or I can go Bernie Sanders. If a pledged delegate believes that they like one candidate or the other, fine. But superdelegates especially get their opinion, especially on one candidate or the other.
I think that superdelegates should be treated more importantly than the actual people voting. And that's my point.
Well, superdelegates aren't treated. They're all voters. They're all voters. That's the whole point. They're all voters. These are just independent Democratic voters. These are just independent voters who don't know which candidate that they want yet. These could all change. Senator Sanders could get 100, 200 of those at the nomination. And then, boy, Senator Sanders is going to love the superdelegates. But if those superdelegates stay with Secretary Clinton, man, those need to be abolished. That's how every candidate is in this election, and that's how it's going to stay. They're going to adapt to how the voters like it, and that's how it's going to be through this entire election. But superdelegates, I think, are treated just like voters. They're treated just like voters. And if you ask me, media doesn't even treat superdelegates like they do pledged delegates. They don't factor in the pledged delegates on CNN, especially on nights where there's a primary or caucus. They don't factor in the superdelegates. They say, if we factor in the superdelegates, and this is how many this candidate likes. They work with pledged delegates. They do their math with pledged delegates. And then at the end of the night, they factor in the superdelegates to see who they support and who could win the nomination with superdelegates. So if you ask me, they're not talked about very much in media, and I think they're treated just like general voters.
So a voter in February, if they vote in the Iowa caucus or the New Hampshire primary, in March, they can't go to the county clerk and say, I want to change my vote. I actually voted for this person instead. They can't change their vote.
Okay. So here's the thing. Even voters aren't treated equally. It is a rigged political system. I do agree with that view. I think every Democrat agrees with that view. Even Hillary Clinton has acknowledged that this is a rigged political system. Donald Trump, who's Republican, has agreed on that. And it is because voters don't matter. They don't matter for anything. They go out and vote. Dole, I can't remember who he ran up against. I think he was Democrat. Al Dole, right? He was Democrat, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Al Gore. Yeah, Gore. But there was a
Bush
Dole
versus
next time.
Gore.
He ran. Yeah. Gore had more of the popular vote. Oh, but over here, George W. Bush had more of the electoral vote. The popular vote didn't get to pick the president. I think the popular vote should pick the president. I think how many votes they have in the primaries and caucuses should pick the nominee. I agree with that. But I do think superdelegates are just independents. They're independents. That's what they are. Because at the end of the night and in November when it's election night, you could be Democrat and vote Republican. It doesn't matter because the popular vote doesn't matter. That's why in primaries you have to vote Democrat or you have to vote Republican because that sorts out the delegates. But if I'm popular vote in November, it doesn't matter who I vote for. I could vote for Trump or I could vote for Clinton. It doesn't really matter. This is a rigged political system. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And any Democrat or Republican would agree that this is a rigged political system and that we need to fix it or we're going to be in deep trouble.
Well, I know it's a rigged system. I've heard stories in New York where in Brooklyn, over 170,000 people, I believe, were just randomly stripped off of the voter rolls so they could not vote in the primary.
That wouldn't have changed it. Secretary Clinton still would have won. That's what I don't understand. We didn't go back and we didn't go back in our rally after Indiana and say, oh, well, these people were stripped from this because that's why we didn't win Indiana. We didn't do that. When we won Kentucky, Senator Sanders went and bragged about, oh, well, these people were split from the list. Well, okay, but would that have increased Secretary Clinton's lead, or would that have decreased her lead? You never know. That's why if you have an independent and you don't know about them, then you shouldn't even voice your opinion on them, because you never know what candidate they would have went for. They could have went for Senator Sanders. We could have had independents that went for Senator Sanders or Secretary Clinton. That could have just boosted her lead, gave her more delegates. So that's why we don't talk about them. So we don't talk about them.
In New York, Democrats weren't allowed to vote. Not independents, but Democrats. They had registered with their party affiliation on time. They had done everything correctly, but they could not vote in the primary.
Okay, so that they probably would have voted for Clinton. It's a matter of who won. Clinton landslided New York. Okay, so that means these independents probably would have went for Clinton, but Sanders turned around and thought they would have went for him. Listen, he was not senator of New York. He wouldn't have won that primary anyway. So I think honestly, it doesn't matter as long as we have a winner, as long as we have a loser, as long as we have delegates added to the table. That's I think
that to vote in the primary so that you have accurate delegate count, so it reflects the views of the people, not the people who are allowed to vote.
It won't, in the end, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It's just going to split up the delegates. The popular vote isn't going to matter. The popular vote's just going to split up the delegates. So it doesn't really matter anyway. It really doesn't matter, because their vote doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the people who ran the voting stand. It didn't matter to the candidates. It didn't matter to anything, because it's just going to split up the delegates anyway. Whoa.
I mean, in the Democratic primaries, proportional to pledged delegates. So even if we calculated missing votes in New York, if he lost by 10% in those votes, then he would get 10% less delegates, and that's completely fair. That's how it should work.
I think we had a winner. I think we had a loser. As long as we had that, okay.
But in other words, that's like saying that it doesn't matter whether someone wins 80% to 20% or 51% to 49%.
It's just going to split up the delegates. Their vote doesn't matter to anybody, because it's just going to split up the delegates later. Okay, I mean, I know what you said about 10% less delegates, but it's just going to split up the delegates later in the end, and even it's just going to, their vote doesn't even matter in November. Like, the people's vote doesn't matter, and they say all the time, your vote counts, and it's all up to you whether we win or lose. Sanders says it, Trump says it, Clinton says it, they all say it. And it really doesn't count, because in the end, it's really not you. It's really not the citizens who pick the nominee. It's not the citizens who pick the president, and that's just how it's going to stay, most likely, unless Sanders is president, which is probably unlikely at this point.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we should just ignore it either. I mean, what I think is that in this system, the people's vote represents pledged delegates. Now, that's like saying that it doesn't matter. There's no difference 100 delegates or if they get 50 delegates. As long as they're winning, it doesn't matter. Split up anyway.
Who's Johnson? That's going to split up. Johnson's going to split up Trump's vote, and that's going to pave the way for Clinton. That's how it's always been in every election.
Actually, it's the opposite. That's the opposite effect. Libertarian and third-party candidates normally split up the Democratic vote.
Well, obviously, we've never had and of course, reasonable elections. We've never had a independent win, so it's gonna be Trump or Clinton either way. Where's Johnson at anyway? I'm just curious.
Huh?
Yeah, Trump or Johnson's losing very bad to both of the
And
candidates.
last election cycle got 1.3% of the vote. Up to 11%? That's insane amounts of votes.
Didn't Johnson run when Clinton went against his? Yeah, Johnson went up against Clinton. Bill Clinton won an election too, didn't he?
I don't think so, but
It wasn't. It wasn't Johnson. I don't know because I thought I watched the video. Okay, let's bring up something different. I'd like to bring up something that's very important to all Americans. Very, very important to all Americans. I don't know why. The dreaded Donald Trump. And it's just a moment of silence while we all think about what we're going to attack in this. So recently, I'm not going to bring up the veterans thing right now, but Donald Trump's been bragging a lot about his money. A lot about his money.
And that happens all the time.
Oh, Ross Perot. Sorry, Ross Perot, I didn't know. Whoops. Well, what do you think about Donald Trump basically trying to buy his way into the White House?
Well, as far as the veterans thing go, I don't think he's buying votes. I think that he was actually trying to be a decent human being, which is new for him. But still, votes. I mean, it's not democratic. I mean, do whatever he wants. That's to if he wants to. Bad it is to do.
He's not trying to be a human being. He's not. He's trying to make these veterans think they're going to get all this federal funding when he's president, and they're not even going to be paid attention to. I can promise you that I can promise you that Donald Trump will not pay one bit of attention to these middle class veterans. I promise you. If you vote Trump, you will regret it. I promise. I'll put everything on the table that you're regretting that Trump is president. Everything.
I really don't think so. People love Trump. People are going to vote for him, and if he wins, they're going to vote for him as an incumbent in 2020.
You don't know. There could be assassinations or there could be impeachments before 2020.
Wow, you just had to bring up assassination.
I'm just listing all the possible things that could happen between 2017 and 2020 because it's all possible. It really is. These candidates go into the White House knowing all of these things are possible to them or their families. They go in there knowing this. They go in there knowing it. And with all the violence that Donald Trump is seeing, you think he'd be scared to death to go into the White House. You see all this violence that's going through his campaign. This could be the White House every day if he is president. This could be bombs being sent into the White House by mail. Who knows? It's happened with Obama. Suspicious boxes being left on White House property. Any of this could happen. Any of it. And they go in there knowing it. You could ask any candidate at all, and they know that their family and them are in danger. Both them and their family are in danger. No matter how much Secret Service is gonna happen, they go in there knowing it. That's why I brought up assassination in the first place, because they go in there knowing this, and it's just simple like that. You know something else that would shock that I just thought about? If that independent, no matter what the polls said, beat Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, how would they feel if that independent beat them?
I mean, it's certainly possible that, well, since the 60s, I believe, there has never been an independent or third-party candidate to win any state this year. Both candidates, except for Bernie, unpopular rating, so I wouldn't doubt it if independents started winning states. Both candidates are very unpopular.
Green Party is going to be Jill Stein, probably. Probably.
Two candidates so far.
Who's winning?
I'm not sure.
There's another thing. They don't pay attention to the independent people who are running for president. At all, really, actually. Hey, can you do me a favor, please? My computer's acting up right now, but I'm gonna stay on here, of course. Can you bring up 270 to win? And we'll kind of just go through and discuss what states that we think the candidates can win.
Pull up my map.
I can't because it never responds.
I mean,
It'll
I
just,
said I'll put it
oh, okay, yeah.
fine.
I was gonna say that maybe we could just go through it and look and discuss what we think can go on based on your map. So yeah, we'll pull up here. This is gonna be a really heated election. But of course, I think Secretary Clinton, because I support her, can crush Donald Trump. It'll be close, but I think she can crush him. Not in terms of a landslide, but I think she can beat him. I think she's gonna use a lot of stuff against him. Like, you can't just fund a Democrat and then run Republican. It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense how you're gonna fund Democrat and then turn around and run against them Republican in the next election cycle.
Did it?
Yeah, that's what's wrong with the Democrats or Republicans. They don't know what they are until they decide to run for president. I don't know if my screen's frozen, but you have 270 to win up right now.
In just a second, I will.
Okay. I was just making sure that my computer was frozen. So just to ask you again, so that your reactions live on the air, what would your reaction be if Secretary Clinton was the projected winner in Kentucky?
What?
Which would happen, but
General election?
In general election?
yeah. What? It's not possible, I know. I think she has a small chance of winning Texas. I really do.
I don't. I really don't.
We just got to get a good Hispanic turnout in the South and in rural areas.
That's never worked in previous elections for Democrats. I don't know why it would now.
Why do I feel like it's easier for the Democrats to win the White House? Do you feel like that too? I feel like the Democrats win more states that have more electoral votes. The bigger states.
Well, while it's easy to say that Clinton could get the big states like California and New York,
Which,
more uncertainty, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. I've got 4 of these right here.
Wisconsin? Are you trying to tell me that Trump can win Wisconsin?
Okay, here I'll shade it in light blue.
I was gonna say you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, but I think he has a chance.
I don't think they've went Republican since Reagan, and Trump's nothing like Reagan, so I don't see them going Republican. In fact,
Well,
I think Reagan wouldn't have endorsed Trump. So
but I have uncertainty on Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania is because those 4 states have been impacted by a lot of job policies and free trade things Clinton has supported in the past. Can work hard enough, jobs, and income security. I think that he could win these 4 states pretty easily.
yeah, we'll see about that. But I still think Secretary Clinton will win those. And of course, there's a no-brainer where I live. We all know who's going to win Illinois. I think it's impossible for a Republican to win Illinois. I think it's impossible from here on out, to be completely honest with you. Although we elected a governor, I think Illinois as a whole hates Republicans. Hates Republicans. I really do, especially the ones running for president. I mean, half Illinois up here is blaming our governor for the budget issues. We hate Republicans. I can tell you that right now.
Well, it's again in Ohio and Pennsylvania because while they are typically Democrats, they've elected moderate Republicans as governors, which it makes me think that there is some kind of Republican in their states that hasn't really shown in elections yet that really could. Always voted Democrat since Clinton.
I don't think they'll ever go Republican again, really, to be completely honest with you. We really do hate Republicans. We do. We think conservative is just a joke. We think conservatives are jokes. Not even kidding. And half the people down here in Illinois, up here in Illinois, think that conservatives are jokes for the simple reasons that, well,
They are.
yeah, they are jokes. A conservative has never done anything good for Illinois. Never. And we've had Democrats as governors here who completely messed up our state. Rod Blagojevich, have you heard about him?
No.
You've not heard about Rod Blagojevich?
Nope.
Look him up. Look him up later on after this discussion or whatever, and you'll be surprised to see what he's done and why he's in prison. And who decided to run for president after he got arrested. Okay, so do you have 270 to win out right now currently?
Yeah.
Your screen's not showing. So.
Wait, no, I don't. Oh, let me go there.
There you go. Okay, we have 3 viewers. So thank you to the 3 viewers who are watching this political discussion. Hopefully you have strong political views on who the next president of the United States is going to be. This is a very important issue in my opinion, that we pay attention to who our next president is going to be, because as we go forward, America's facing issues that could only be fixed by one candidate only, and we all have our own opinions on who can do that. So thanks for tapping into the political discussion, and we'll talk about everything from polls to our personal opinions, the media, and what the candidates have said in the past. So, and you know something else about Donald Trump, he's really not even about the veterans thing. He's really been bragging about how rich he is, and you can't brag about how rich you are when you're president. If I'm middle class and I don't have that much money, believe it or not, there are middle class Republicans who have turned to Clinton because they were supporting Trump. My grandma actually, or no, my grandpa, he's voted Republican since he was legal voter, right? First time he saw Trump, and the first time that he saw the numbers between Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders, he's voting for Hillary Clinton. He's never went Republican before or Democrat before, but he's voting for Hillary Clinton, which tells you something. That if a real big conservative is going to vote for a Democrat, there's something wrong with the nominee. And you know, my grandpa's actually worked for the government too, and in terms of he's been state police officer, he fought in Vietnam, for all of that. So that really tells you something if he's voting Democrat. Okay. What would you like to say, Isaiah? I know you have something to say.
Other than this is my electoral map. And obviously the easy states to pick were the South,
We can't see,
Mississippi and Alabama. That's for Clinton.
we can't see it. Gotta just see the 270 wind map that Isaiah's brought up here. Yeah, there it
These
is. Okay.
states were West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, the Deep South, through the Great Plains states, I think. Could hold a win there. I'm a little bit more the Four Corner states. Yes.
Don't put Arizona and New Mexico for Republican. They're along the border. I'd put them either undecided or for Secretary Clinton.
I would not.
Even what the polls show, the polls really don't matter at this point. These are early polls. They don't matter. I think just Arizona, not Arizona, New Mexico undecided, because New Mexico is really not going to go Republican, and they may not go Democrat either. So they may go independent. Who knows?
Let me ask a question. Why do you think that New Mexico won't go?
The border. They don't want border control. They don't. I can promise you that. Did you not hear me?
I heard you.
Okay.
Dang it, I need to pull up my screen again.
Just curious, please tell me you're not the one viewer that's watching right now.
I might have an open tab, I don't know. See, I'm trying to find the screen share button to show you what I'm looking at, but I load. So I'll get it off for just a second. I'll reload and I'll see if that'll work.
Okay. Well, while Isaiah is reloading here, I just want to say that I'm Kelvin Hawthorne. I support Secretary Hillary Clinton. Isaiah also supports Democrat, only he supports Bernie Sanders. So we both have our different opinions on who we want to be the next president. Although we are below the voting age, we cannot vote, unfortunately, in this next election. We still are able to voice our opinions, and that's what we're doing. That's the whole point of this broadcast. I like Secretary Clinton, he likes Senator Sanders. So we're going to just talk basically about the candidates and who's going to be better for the job. Obviously, Secretary Clinton could be better for the job, but he thinks Bernie Sanders is going to be better for the job. So we'll just see at the nomination, but we can discuss it right now. There's no hurt about that. So it's not working for him right now. We're going to try to stay on. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to mute and close our screen here. We're not going to stop the broadcast. We'll continue to watch, continue to invite people, but we'll be right back. Thank you for sticking around for this political discussion. Unfortunately, we're having technical difficulties with the other person that we're supposed to be talking to. We'll try to do other political discussions as this race goes on. We'll probably do one for California and New Jersey primaries that are coming out very soon on June 7th. We'll probably broadcast those live here and discuss our panel observations on who we think the president of the United States is going to be. Thank you for joining us on this political discussion. I'm Kelvin Hawthorne, and that was Isaiah Montgomery, who was also talking to us. You can rewatch this on YouTube, or you can also email me at kelvinhawthorne11@gmail.com for the link to watch this on the event page. And you can also go to Facebook and like 2016 election info. That's on Facebook, and we also have a website called 2016electioninfo.weebly.com that you can also go like. If I got that wrong, please email me at once again at kelvinhawthorne11@gmail.com. Remember, you can watch this on YouTube. Make sure you watch June 7th. We'll be sure to get the link out. And thank you for watching.